All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Mr. Vijay Simha, who is a founder Content Cafe, and the team at CMS Asia thought that it wouldn't be, fair to let him go without a talk from him. Mr. Vijay Simha, will you step up and talk to us for a few minutes, please? Yes, on popular demand. Now, he comes armed with 16 years of experience in media. He's been creative director with JWT and Saatchi, and we're really eagerly waiting to listen to you. So it's all yours, sir.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm not used to going up on stage. The last time I went up on stage, I was draped in a sari. And I was supposed to play Bharat Mata. And people assumed that I was Indira Gandhi. I wondered why. I actually forgot to wear the pallu. I guess that's what happens to most of our digital advertising and content marketing. We think it is something, and the consumer thinks it's something else. I couldn't help but notice all day, most of you have been looking at your phones, even while some interesting topics were being spoken about here. So I just wanted to understand, what were you guys doing on the phone? A lot of people were on the phones. Yeah, you guys were tweeting? Okay. How many of you, ever paid for video content online? Yeah? Okay, how many of you here are taking care of e-commerce? Okay, how many of you are North Indians? Okay, I can assume that the rest are all Madrasis. There's something funny about data. It leads us to some so-called logical conclusions, which end up being stereotypes, right? This is one of them. This is a North Indian stereotype, where everyone down south is a Madrasi. Okay, how many of you are left-handers? Okay, I guess I can safely assume that everyone else uses the right hand when they click the mouse, which brings me to the next question. By the answer you give me to the last question, I can assume that all of you who've raised your hands to say that you've paid for video content, 69% of you have paid for porn. Okay, is it again a logical misstep? Am I making some kind of an assumption? Just like I assume that everyone else is Madrasi? But that's the truth. 69% of all pay-per-view content online is pornography. But the funny thing is, porn is mostly available free. And it's commoditized, right? All kinds of categories exist, and all kinds of storylines, single X, double X, triple X, whatever. It's also taboo. It's not like you want to share hot content just because you found it, You can't quickly click and share it on Facebook saying, hey, dude, see this hot threesome that I found. Yet, it's free, it's a commodity, it's a taboo, yet these guys are making you pay for it. So these guys must be really good. The guys who are doing, the online e-commerce management for porn. Why is it really relevant here? You guys must be thinking it's already like 4:30 in the evening. We are here to, learn about content marketing, and this guy is talking about porn. It's really important to understand who's paying for it, right? We're talking about the 69% who paid for porn online. Who are these guys? Are these some seedy guys, sitting somewhere alone in rooms that are closed from inside? Not really. The guys who are paying for porn online are exactly the target audience that most of us e-commerce players are targeting. More urban than rural, have experienced an increase in average household income, That sounds like SECA. Yeah, have a great density of young people, right? India is a young country. I mean, I can't think of any brand which is not targeting this age group. You know, they have a higher proportion of people with, I mean, undergraduate degree in the US, but you know, we call it degree here. And if you look at the pin codes, that's the kind of area that we're talking about. So these are pretty evolved people. They're donating blood, right? Not many people do that. It's someone who's you know, more intelligent, more you know, evolved mentally. They are the people who engage in volunteer activities, donate blood and all that. So we are talking about pretty sophisticated audience, and you know, it's people like us who are doing it. So what can we really learn from the pawn business, which we can use in our you know, more moral endeavors? Yeah. So that brings me to my topic. It's very funny that I'm talking about data because I scored just 50% in my mathematics in 10th standard. And I still remember the beating I received from my dad. But I love numbers. I mean, over years, I've begun to love numbers, and I find patterns in them. And there's some very interesting lessons that we can learn from data. And I'm sure, you know, e-commerce guys, you know, Pepperfry, there was someone from Yepme, iOrderFresh. I'm sure you guys have access to all kinds of data. The funny part is every marketer, and today, because of all the tools available, everyone has access to those tools. Everyone has the same data. Yet, it's about how you're going to use the data. And you know, a lot of us might assume that being the head of marketing for a pawn company must be a really easy job because pawn can sell itself. It's not, right? Because most of it is free. You know, those IP-targeted ads, they were invented by the pawn companies, right? So when you go onto a website and this little pop-up that comes and says, "Hey, you know, are you looking for girls in Dwarka?" You know, that's the kind of technology, high-tech inventions that the pawn guys did, and it's you know, like all good inventions come from the defense industry, a lot of them come from the pawn industry. So I thought, okay, these guys are interesting people. Let's see if we can learn from them. Then I did a bit of research, and I found this portal called Pawn Hub, which is one of the largest in the world. Yeah, even I didn't hear of it before. Okay, so these guys did something very interesting. They said, okay, you know, there's so many people coming onto a website. Yes, I mean, because the content is freely available, and we need to make more people pay for the content. How do we do it? Can we expand the market as a whole? Very difficult. Of course, there are more and more newer economies jumping onto the internet bandwagon. If you speak to the Aircel guys who sell the pocket recharge for $10, they'll tell you that 99% of their revenues come from pawn streaming. Now, but in the Western economies, at least, for them to expand the market is very difficult. So they have to steal customers from other pawn players because it's an undifferentiated marketplace. So how are they doing it? They decided to make their marketing content more exciting than the product itself. Now, what can be more exciting than pawn itself, right? So they created, it's like a blog called Pawn Hub Insights. So they're mining data of all the visitors they get from across the world, and they're creating content out of it. Now, we have e-commerce players here, Flipkart and all that. I'm sure there's so much interesting stuff that you can find about people who have come onto the website to transact, right? So, I mean, these are some 12 occupations that most people are searching for. Events, right? When there's a Super Bowl game going on, you know, we've got World Cup cricket happening right now. I would want to know from, you know, our client Yepme if there's any dip in traffic, or has the traffic actually gone up? So these guys have delved into it, and it's amazing that actually when the football game is going on, even the traffic on their website is going up. So maybe football is probably the best stimulant. People don't really need Viagra, right? So this is the kind of content they're creating and sharing it with people at large, And even if you're not the type who pays for porn and you discover this content, you'll probably share it with a friend. Because just like other businesses, porn also depends a lot on social marketing. And this kind of makes it more moral to share. And the company realized that this content was being shared, and hence they were getting a lot more people logging onto their site, new people. What did they do next? You know, the funny part about it is, again, the content is not about them. It's not about Pornhub. It's not about the porn stars who are starring in their videos. The content is about the audience. So they went super special. They had country insights. So they have an entire section on Hungary, what are people searching for in Luxembourg. It goes on, and it's really interesting to study it. Valentine's Day insights. What are people looking for on Valentine's Day? So are they really looking for a Valentine over there? I don't know. Again, some interesting data point. So I'm sure even e-commerce players who operate in the other part of the business, fashion, whatever, there could be a lot of interesting trends that emerge. Do people really buy more saffron, more green when there's Independence Day and Republic Day? I don't know. But if you look at all the print advertising communication that happens, you suddenly see lots of saffron and green ads happening. All kinds of brands. Everybody becomes nationalistic. Maybe it doesn't really reflect in online behavior. Maybe something else is happening. So is there a pattern that we can find? And can we mine this data and create content that actually kind of entertains even our own audience? Otherwise, it's very transactional otherwise. People are coming to your website, they're buying something and complaining about it. So can we entertain them by showing a mirror to their own behavior? Then what they're doing is they're also helping people satisfy the most primal desire. Apart from sex, the other primal desire is you want to really know what other people are up to, right? Which is also why social marketing works, because you want to know what your friend likes, which is why before you buying a car, you ask your friend whether he likes a Ford Figo or not, because you really want to understand what other people are thinking, and you are influenced by it. So they tied up with BuzzFeed, and they created this entire feature on what women want, right? And I noticed when I asked the question, how many of you have paid for online video, a few hands went up. I think there were a couple of ladies also. But when the topic of porn comes up, it's only natural that no one really accepts that they paid for it. But I'm going to expose all of you liars. Here's a very interesting content they created. Porn is bigger than Christmas in Japan, right? So they've, again, analyzed the traffic patterns, and they've created content out of it. Okay, all of these are not static content. These are all interactive content. So if you go to their website, it's all interactive. You can change countries. You can further go deep into the data. So it's very interesting. So they've got all the holidays listed down there. You can actually check what happens on maybe India's Independence Day, right? Then they're playing on popular rivalries. India, US and Russia, this whole communist capitalist thing. So again, very entertaining data. India has many such oppositions, right? North Indians, South Indians, whatever, Bengalis, Punjabis. Just imagine the kind of content that an e-commerce player can create. Again, topical. When this whole vote was going on for Scotland to get away from England. Again, they capitalized on that. Thankfully, because of social integration, it's very easy for us to know how many of the visitors who come to our website are Aam Aadmi Party supporters or BJP supporters. It'll be very interesting to know, probably the BJP guys are not actually buying saffron. They're probably buying more jadus. That'll be an interesting content to create. The last point is, it's important to create a content that can take a life of its own. It has to become a living, breathing thing. It can't be a campaign, because we live by campaigns. We start a campaign, we stop a campaign, we are dead. But the consumer is always on. So can we try to create content that can live on its own? This is where I'm going to expose some lies. This is a heat map of how much time people are spending on this website. Look at India. It's red. And we're talking about 69% probability of people paying for porn, so it could be a lot of you sitting here. We are number 5th in terms of consuming their content. Saturday, Sunday are the most popular days. May is really the hottest month. Okay, look at that there. 23% of women, right? And then the picture gets very, very interesting. Indians' average time spent is pretty close to the world average, right? And look at that. All the despots are in Guwahati, Patna, Jaipur, all of that. Okay, I come from Guntur, which is 25 kilometers away from Vijayawada. Pretty boring people. Yeah? Traffic changes during holiday. Now, where's Mahatma Gandhi? Oh, people are pious, right? The day Mahatma Gandhi is born, people are not watching porn. Yeah? Ramzan, it doesn't matter, it seems. Yeah? So on and so forth. I mean, this is really exciting. I mean, imagine a porn company doing that, and a lot of the other guys are not doing it. It's a pretty sorry affair. But are there any lessons from outside porn? Yes, there are. How many of you have read about this? Alibaba. The money bags is doing a lot of data analytics. They've linked spends to bra sizes. So women who purchase a larger bra size tend to spend more money. So imagine the kind of communication you can create, targeted, retargeting, everything that you can do by this kind of an analysis. This is something that Flipkart did. I'm sure some of you have noticed. They've basically taken all the customer comments and created content around it. Some of it is really hilarious. After selling my mom's jewelry and underwear, he bought these headphones. I'm sure some of it is created by them, but it's still good. This is my favorite. I couldn't even hear my wife scream her lungs out. Do you know this man? Yeah, I don't know him, but I found it very interesting. I mean, he really sums it up for us. Thankfully, he's not running a porn business, but he pretty much says what exactly Pornhub is trying to do. Thank you.
Well, do stay with us here. We'd like to present you with the Memento informal award there for the most entertaining presentation of the day. What do you say, guys? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not repeating that. On the mic, at least. Okay.